This is my Note 5 review, and before I start my review, I would like you to keep some things in consideration when watching my review. Now, I'm going to have to make this video very long, an hour to an hour and a half. So instead of making this video an hour to an hour and a half, I'm going to be making this video into separate parts. So one part's going to be the camera, one part's going to be the specs, one part's going to be the build quality, one part's going to be the performance and things like that. First of all, it'll make your life easier. For instance, if you don't want to watch the camera, you don't care about the camera, but you care about the UI, then you can watch that video. So it'll just make your life easier instead of trying to browse through an hour and a half of footage, trying to find things you just want to know about the Note instead of trying to watch the whole video. The reason I'm making this in the parts and the reason it's going to be very long is because you're buying this phone for about $300, $400, $500, $600. They're not cheap phones. They're very expensive, and most likely you're gonna be keeping the phone for 2 or 3 years unless you're a die-hard tech fan that needs a new phone every year. You don't want to be left in the dust, and you have a lot of money to blow. Then most likely, most normal people are going to have their smartphone for 2 or 3 years at the most. And since they're very expensive, you need to know as much stuff as you can about the phone before you buy it and find out you do not like the phone. But here's one tip that a lot of people may not know. One thing to know is if you walk into your carrier or provider and you pick out a phone, not just the Note 5, if you pick out any phone on the market, you actually have 14 days to try it out and see if you like it. And if you don't like it, you can actually return it to your carrier and get a new phone before the 14 days is up. But here's the thing, you will have to pay a restocking fee. I think the restocking fee is $35, $40. But that's still nice of the carrier to let you let you trade in your phone if you didn't like it after you bought it, so you still have that 14-day grace period, which I really do like. And one other thing to take in consideration when watching my review is I was a long-time Note user, specifically the Note 2, and here's the Note 2. So a lot of the things I'm going to be talking about the Note 5 may have already been on the Note 3, on the Note 4, on newer versions of Android, or on newer versions of TouchWiz. So just keep that in mind. I really do apologize if I'm talking about features that were already on the other versions of TouchWiz or the Note 3 and Note 4. I really do apologize. But again, you do have to remember I'm coming from the Note 2, which is a very old phone, coming in at 2012, I think, was when it was released on the market. So just take that into consideration. Now, this part, I'm going to be talking about the design of the phone. And first of all, I have to say, this phone I have right here is the black one. I'm going to try to show you on camera. They do call it black on the box, but it's more of a dark blue color. It's hard to see with this lighting condition, but when you look at the black one in store, it is going to be a more black or a more dark blue color. It's not really a black color. It's hard to see because I have a case on it and everything. You might be able to see it right there in that kind of light. Like, look at the top, it is more of a dark bluish color instead of a full black color. So just take that also into consideration when you're buying the blue one or the black one, which they call it, which is really dark blue. And then they also make this in silver, I think, and they also make it in gold. And the two capacities you can buy for this phone at this moment are 32 and 64 gig with this phone. There's no 16 gig variant, and there's no 128 variant. There was supposed to be a 128 variant coming out, but unfortunately Samsung, I don't think, is ever going to release a 128 gig version of this phone. Now, talking in terms of design, the new Note 5 shares the same body as the S6 and S6 Edge. It also shares the same body with the S6 Edge Plus. Now, this design is all metal and glass. Samsung finally went away from the plastic designs of their previous phones, and they're not plasticky, and they don't have the faux leather, which is the fake leather backs that some of them have. So overall, Samsung really did a nice job of making their phones feel more premium than before, because as you know, before, if you're an old time Samsung user, the build just wasn't up to par between Apple and HTC. They were still making plasticky, cheap looking phones. They kind of look like kids' toys in my opinion. But of course, since Samsung did make their phones plasticky and cheap, they were able to make a removable back, a removable battery, and a micro SD card slot. Now with the new Note 5, it does not have a removable back and it does not have a micro SD card slot. So no more upgrading your memory and no more changing your batteries out. Depending on how you look at it, it could be a good or bad thing. For me personally, I was a Note 2 user, but honestly, this change does not bother me because there are ways to get around that. So you can get around the fact that there's no removable battery and micro SD card slot. Actually, in another video, I'll be showing you how to get around the removable battery and the micro SD card slot not being there anymore. So check out that video if you would like to see ways to get around that. But honestly, would I have liked Samsung to make a removable battery and a removable micro SD card slot? Yes, I would have liked it. I'm still in the camp that still wants it. I still would like it, but it doesn't bother me. It will bother some people, so take that into consideration. The Note 4 was the last Samsung phone to actually have a removable back and a micro SD card slot, unfortunately. And also, you do have to take in consideration that they only have 32 and 64 gig memory. The 32 one out of the box I think comes with like 21 or 22 gig. So realistically, you're not getting a lot of gig when you get the 32 gig model. You might as well go for the 64 gig version. I know the 64 gig version comes in at around 51 gig out of the box. So you're not quite getting 64 gig. You're getting about 61 gig out of the box. So just keep that in mind. Overall, they really had no choice when they went to metal and glass. They really had to go to non-removable battery and they had to go to micro SD card slot. And this is not a video on the battery. A video will be coming up on the specs and everything. So don't think I'm not talking about the battery and the battery size. That will be in another video, in another part of the Samsung Note 5 review. Overall, I am very happy with the design. But let's be honest, for the most part, the design doesn't matter. I'm one of those people that don't care if they went to glass and metal or they went to plastic and like a fake leather back. Here's the reason. The reason I really don't care that Samsung went to glass and metal. Yes, it's a very premium feeling phone, but let's face it, you're probably gonna pop on a case, pop on a screen protector, pop on some kind of skin, because let's face it, glass and metal will shatter easily when you drop it, and you don't want to go dropping this phone because you're probably going to have it for 2 or 3 years down the road. So like most people, you're popping on some kind of protection, so that means you're not probably going to really care about or really even see the design of the phone or even be able to even touch the design of the phone. I will say the new Note 5 does look sexy as hell, I'm not gonna lie, but I would prefer a plasticky phone with a leather back and a removable battery and a removable SD card than a premium feeling device that's all metal and glass, because you're never going to see that again when you have to pop on some kind of case or some type of protection on the phone. But other than that, I am really happy with the design. It is a very nice looking feeling phone, I'm not going to lie. Overall, I love the new premium design of the phone, and the removable battery and the micro SD card slot being gone does not bother me. So those are just some of the design changes on the Note 5 in terms of design. And one thing before I go, I would like to mention that this phone is actually curved on the back, so it's supposed to be easier for you to hold if you're rocking this naked, which I don't know honestly why you would be rocking like an $800 phone naked anyway. You need to pop on some protection easily, but if you flip it on the back, you can notice that there is a kind of curved on the back. The glass is kind of curved on the back, which makes it easier for you to hold. But I have held one of these naked, not mine actually, but I've held one of these naked, and they are very slippery. Since the glass on the back, it makes it very slippery, and it does fingerprint up very easily. So you're probably anyway going to have to pop on a case anyway, or some kind of skin. And anyway, this is just the design of the Note 5. And peace out. I'll see you guys later in my next video. I'm out.